we're gonna get into this interview with you right now. Miss Jewlz Chaotic came a long way down here to Toronto to interview. Who is Miss Jewlz Chaotic?
Well, I guess most people would know me as Louie Rankin's assistant and a partner, mother of his children, few of his children, I should say, not all of his children.
Okay.
People didn't really know me too much before that. I was kind of in the entertainment industry a little bit. I would promote like friends of mine that were local artists and local rappers. We used to have something called Carib Fest in Barrie, which was very similar to Caribana, and it was always the weekend after Caribana, and was similar, the same thing. So we did shows there, and we had like Bungie Garland, Fan Lions, Barry's Hammond, Inner Circle, local artists that would open, and I would help promote shows and help sell tickets and help work backstage and stuff. And, you know, as a single mom, you don't always have money to pay to go to shows and stuff. So part of the compensation would be I would get, you know, free backstage passes, an opportunity to go out and see shows. And that's kind of how I met Louie, because I was helping promote for the Method Man Red Man show in Barrie, and he showed up for the show.
Okay, proper. We're going to get into that. Take me back, though. Who are you, though? Like, who was Jewlz before Louie?
I wasn't anybody serious, really.
Stop this. So what was it like? You said you grew up in Barrie?
I was born in Barrie, but I grew up in a small town, Angus. I used to live across the street from the original Miss Vicky's Chips factory, and my mom used to work there, and some of my family members. Yeah, and then they got bought out, and they moved their factory, and I was always a small town girl, you know, Barrie, outskirts of Barrie. I've also lived in Cambridge, and I've also lived in Wasaga Beach, and
okay.
I was a bartender for several years, and
nice. What was it like growing up out there?
In Barrie?
Yeah, Barrie, Wasaga Beach, all these places.
Wasn't too bad.
I'm a city guy.
Wasn't too bad. I mean, Barrie's definitely changed a lot from when I was a kid. It's gotten probably doubled in size, maybe even tripled in size, and
okay. What else?
It's become a lot more cultural than it used to be. I'll admit Barrie was predominantly white back in the day, and now it's become a lot more culturalized.
Proper.
A lot of people that work in Toronto live in Barrie and commute. But it wasn't bad. I mean, it was an all right place to grow up as a kid. I don't really have too many bad memories of the city itself. Or, you know, Wasaga Beach is definitely not what it used to be when I was growing up there. My mom had a house in Wasaga Beach for over 18 years. And I remember as a teenager, you know, the big thing to do was go party in Wasaga Beach on long weekends and doing the strip in your cars and going. And I was bartending and all that. So, but it's not like that no more. Wasaga Beach is pretty much gone now. They took down the whole main beach, and there's nothing there no more. The slides are gone. The go-kart track's gone. It's not the same.
So most of our guests are African American or African Canadian. Sorry. I guess if that's the right term. Sorry, guys. don't fucking quote me on this. What was it like as a, I guess, Caucasian? Are you? Your background growing up at home?
Well, my background's European.
European? Okay.
Yeah, my dad's side is Dutch, and my mom's side is Belgian. So pretty much a fully European background. So yes, Caucasian, but we still had the cultural, because like my nana didn't speak a word of English. Okay. And she's probably similar to most cultural grandmothers, you know, don't touch her soup pot. You get the wooden spoon, stay out of her kitchen, stay off her couch, you know. Okay. That's what I grew up with, the plastic on the couches, the plastic runner down the hallway.
Say a word. What were you guys listening to back in the day? What kind of music?
Well, my parents were into a little bit of everything. Like they liked country music, and then they liked like the, you know, like Michael Jackson they listened to, and Elvis Presley, and then, you know, country singers. And that's kind of like what I grew up on. And my mom was, I was adopted. So I have like my biological mom, who I have a relationship with, and then my adoptive parents too. So between all of them, it was kind of what you would call eclectic. It's all across the board. I kind of experienced all different types of music. Like my dad was into like Aerosmith and all that. Aerosmith. So
Growing up, did you have, like you said, you were doing bartending and stuff like that? Did you have any other goals? Like, was there a goal growing up that you were like, I want to do this, I want to?
Yeah, I've always wanted to be a nurse, and I did start college for nursing, and then life happened, and kids happened, and that's what I'm currently going back to school for now is to get all my credits to finish my nursing degree. Yeah,
proper. Never too late. Never too late. What about Toronto? What's your connections with Toronto?
Just because it was always the place where everybody wanted to go. Like in Barrie, yeah, we had clubs and places to hang out and stuff, but it was always, you know, when you wanted to plan a trip, you planned a trip to Barrie. You know, I think it was my 24th birthday. We took a limo from Barrie and came downtown Toronto. I don't even know if the club's there anymore. It was on King Street or Peter Street. It's the one that was on the rooftop bar.
Government?
No, it wasn't Government. There's like 3 bars in one. There's the one on the main floor, and then the one on the second floor, and you go up to the top floor, and it was like a rooftop patio with a
exit.
I can't even remember what it's called.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I'm bad with
I just remember names. Tony Matterhorn was there, and he put his booth with ours, and we partied with him all night.
Tony Matterhorn. Shout out another Jamaican turned Toronto legend. What kind of girl were you growing up?
I guess I was a little bit of a goody two-shoes growing up. But again, I mean, my life was a little different. You know, my biological parents had their issues, and there was some family abuse, so I was put into foster care, and then I was adopted, and then my adopted parents got divorced, so I was put into a group home, and then I was living on my own by the time I was 16, going to school and working full-time, so... Okay. You know, my life definitely wasn't easy. There was easy parts to it. You know, my adoptive parents were a little more well off than others. So when I was living with them, I was going to private school and had all the privileges, you know. What I could say, white privilege. I can say that, you know. Straight went to private school, horseback riding lessons, figure skating, whatever I wanted. And then I experienced the other side of it when I had to move out, and not move out, but ended up out on my own on the street because it was better for me to be on my own than living in the group home because the group home was messed up.
This might be sound fucked up. Can you give us like a white privilege moment in your life where you were just like, yeah, I got away with this because I'm white?
There's nothing in particular that I can think of that comes to mind to say that I ever got away with. I mean, there are some things that I did in my life that I paid the consequences for. I can't. I think the opportunities that I was given during my childhood, like I said, private school and those kind of things.
That would be it.
Yeah, but when it comes to like if I committed a crime or did something I shouldn't have, there's nothing that I really got away in that aspect with because of white privilege. But some people think white privilege doesn't exist, but I personally believe that it does because I've seen it and I witnessed it and experienced it. And again, it's the culture, right? Again, I also grew up like in the Barrie area, which was predominantly white when I was a kid. So there was a lot more opportunity. I'm sure if I was living in the Toronto area, I may not have been going to a private school.
Facts. Yeah, man. You're right. Take us through the night you met Louie.
So that was probably, I think it was 2013. So it was the Method Man Redman show in Barrie. Okay. The sold out show, one of the best shows that I've ever dealt with and worked with and seen. And he showed up there with his crew and his girlfriend at the time. And
oh man,
a little embarrassing, I have to admit, when he first walked in there. Shatta's being one of my favorite movies. I didn't even realize who he was. And he was standing right next to me, chatting to me. And a friend of mine who was a rapper turned and said, "Do you know who that is?" And I said, "No." And he said, "That's Teddy Bruckshot." And I said, "You're lying." Like, I didn't believe him. And then, you know, he turned and said, "Hi, how are you? What's up?" And then he went on stage with Meth and Red. And he did his, you know, typical, the original Jamaican Dundada line. And I knew from there. And that night it wasn't really, you know, it was just kind of like, that was when I first met him. We just kind of said hi, you know, he asked me who I was and what my job was. And I kind of told him, you know, how I help promote shows and sell tickets and stuff. And then I never really saw him again until summer of 2014. So that was at the Juicy J show in Barrie. And he showed up to that show. And that night he happened to be there with some guys that I knew from Barrie that were some artists from Barrie. And we went to the after party together, and we started talking again about business, and he wanted me to help him out with his social media and help him with promoting and stuff like that. And it just kind of went from there.
Did you think it was like, was he flirting with you, or did you think it was going to build to anything by that time? Or was it just strictly like biz, like you was just...
Not in the club, no. Not even like, not at the concert, not at the club, at the after hours. Like I said, the guys he was rolling with, I personally knew from Barrie. So we were supposed to go drop him off at his hotel, and then they were going to drop me home. But these guys failed on their management skills and didn't book the room ahead of time. So 4 o'clock in the morning, place is sold out, because this is small, like Barrie. There's like 5 hotels, and it was a Juicy J show. It was, all the hotels were sold out. So I had my house. I had a 3-bedroom house with an extra bedroom in it. So I offered him to stay there for the night.
Okay, proper. What happened that night?
A lot of drinks, a lot of fun. One of my girlfriends was there with me, and so him and his boys came back, and we just were drinking and having some fun, and you know how that goes.
Facts. So what attracted you to him?
His personality, I guess. He was a very nice guy, and he was very straight. He didn't really hide his feelings about anything. He was very upfront and forward, and I really couldn't say, like, I'm not really a person to say, oh, I'm attracted to someone because of how they look, or, you know, it was just, he had a vibe, I guess, you know, we had a good vibe together and enjoyed ourselves. So
what's one of the fondest memories you have of him? Together, you guys.
I guess when our kids were born. That would be like when our first daughter and then the twins were born. And then...
okay, not include the kids, because obviously...
Yeah. We had some fun times. I guess when we took a weekend trip to Niagara Falls with the kids, and we enjoyed ourselves. It's really hard because, like, with him being who he was on the road a lot, and he was away a lot. So we didn't get to do a lot of the typical family couple things that most people would get to do, because he had a lot of work to do.
Yeah.
But we had our fun times. I think we had more fun working together than we did on a personal day-to-day living together kind of experience.
He also signed with... did he sign with DJ Khaled?
No. They just did...
They had a collaboration or something.
Yeah, they did the song with Nas, and from the song Nas album Done.
Yes.
So Khaled had called me and wanted to connect with Louie, and basically within 24 hours of Khaled calling me, he was on the plane to Bahamas to film the video.
Jesus. Like, who's the craziest person that you guys connected with? To you, in your opinion, like, that you were just like, wow, like, that you've been around maybe with him, or...
Well, a lot of these artists I had been around, like, before I knew him too, like Snoop Dogg and you know, Meth and Red and Juicy J and Shaggy, and we did a show with Charlie B and Chinese Assassin and P Rain and all that, and Barrie, and like, these are all artists I worked with before I met Louie. But I have to say, probably Popcorn. Only because I've been a huge Popcorn fan for years and years and years. So when he started like hanging around Popcorn, and then they did the movie together, The Intent 2, and then, you know, shout out Popcorn, because that man has shown me a lot of respect and checked out for me and the kids ever since Louie's passing. And he calls me and video chats me all the time and makes sure we're okay. And, well, not all the time, but like, when he gets a chance, and, you know, he shows respect, and the same like Movado and Sizzla too. I have to say, all three of them, they've all gone out of their way. I'm probably missing some people, Bounty Killer, like a lot of the big name artists that Louie did work with or friends with all reached out to me. So, I mean, I have a lot of respect for them, just because culturally wise, they respected him. So they showed love, you know? Mm-hmm. But I'd have to say Popcorn's probably the biggest one that I kind of got starry-eyed over, you know?
Unruly over you.
Going back to saying what kind of music I listen to, definitely... That's one of the biggest. His fixed tape album is on repeat for me.
Okay. Movie wise too, he's done crazy movies. I guess Shatas is number one. What would be the next movie?
You
for
think
you?
Shatas is number one over Belly? I guess it's depending on.
It depends. It depends on who you ask. I would definitely put Belly though. Yeah. I put Belly. His performance, his Belly was amazing. The him and DMX with the soccer game, amazing. That scene probably one of my top 5 scenes.
And the shootout scene.
The shootout scene.
Do you think it should have ended the way it did though?
The movie or the shootout?
The shootout, like how he
I didn't like
took
the shootout.
out
He took out
those
everybody,
guys and then
the
gets his
shorty
throat
at the end.
Chiquita.
Shout out to
Chiquita.
I remember that.
Nah, I didn't like.
That's Paula Ooch, right? She was also in Dance Hall Queen.
Oh, okay, I didn't know all that. I'm not even gonna front. I'm not a huge dancehall guy, so I don't know all that. But
Yeah, she was in Dance Hall Queen and in Belly.
But yeah, I did like the way that scene moved. But what would be? So what's your you would pick Belly over Shatas?
No, I would pick Shatas over Belly. Yeah, Shatas I like the movie Belly, but Shatas, I don't know. I think it's the soundtrack, the music, the culture, the way that whole movie was made. It really gives a good representation of Jamaican life, you know, and really shows people. Not that I would know, because I hate to say it, but I've never personally been to Jamaica, so I really wouldn't know. But from what I've been told and what I've seen, it really does portray the Jamaican lifestyle and what it was like growing up there and the things people had to go through to survive.
Why did Louie come to Toronto? Because it seemed like he just, like, I don't know, something attracted him to Toronto and he just came out here.
Well, he had to leave the U.S. for legal matters. Okay. So he left the U.S. and went to Jamaica. And then he stayed in Jamaica for a few months and then came to Canada in around 2010, I believe. And then just stayed here because it was better to be here than in Jamaica. Because in Jamaica, it's even harder to move your career along. And I mean, even all the artists that are there now, they don't stay in Jamaica. They go to the States and the UK and to promote themselves. So he just figured, and his family's here too. His mom's here, his brothers and sisters are here, his nieces and nephews. Yeah, they all live here. They all came here to Canada, like way back. Okay. And then he came to Canada with his family and then left Canada for the U.S. and then lived in the U.S. for most of his career. Okay. But most of his family's here. His mom's here and his brothers and sisters and all that.
Okay. I didn't even know that. That's crazy. I don't want to shit on the man's name because I know, one, he's not here, and he's not here actually physical either to talk about this. But there was allegations that he did come out and testify or against people, artists in Toronto. I'm not too sure. I forgot the guy's name. Do you want to talk about the situation, clear up his name or clear up his side?
Well, he was subpoenaed to testify. He didn't do it willingly. He was subpoenaed. He didn't really have much of a choice.
Yeah, at that point, he had no choice.
Yeah, so he got robbed, supposedly at gunpoint. I wasn't there. I got a phone call at 3 o'clock in the morning from the police saying he had been robbed, and they wanted to take him to the hospital because he got hit in the back of the head and he was bleeding and stuff. And it happened in the parking lot at Lucky's Diner, which is Jane and Wilson, right? Yeah. So apparently the guy, so he had taken a cab from Barrie to Toronto because he was doing a show and he had just gotten paid to do the show and he got robbed and somebody, the cab driver called the cops because the cab driver seen the whole thing. And I guess some other people in the parking lot knew the guy that robbed him, but he didn't really see much of anything because the guy came from behind and he got subpoenaed to testify. And it ended up coming out that the guy that robbed him was his daughter's brother. So he had a kid with a woman here in the city, and the girl had a younger brother who had some problems, and I don't know if him and Louie had been in communication before it happened, or I really couldn't say for sure if they had been in communication or if they were supposed to meet up or what, because again, I wasn't there. Yeah. But I ended up finding out after the fact that that's who got arrested for attacking him. And from the disclosure that I read, the reason why he got busted was because somebody else in the parking lot named him that knew him and his mom, and that when they went to go arrest him, they found a jacket in his place that had Louie's blood on it.
Wow.
So I wouldn't go to court. I didn't really have much to do with it. But I do know the kid did call from jail on three-way with his sister, calling Louie's daughter, calling, asking for help, saying, can you help me out of this situation?
Oh, that's crazy.
And I guess he tried to do what he could, but again, he was subpoenaed, so there wasn't really much he could do. Like, how is he supposed to help this kid out? But then he's being subpoenaed to testify. I do know that in court, again, he didn't even know what was going on. At least that's what he claimed. And in court, he still said, I don't know who attacked me. I don't know who hit me. So, I mean, in my eyes, if somebody's a rat, then that's because they're naming the person and putting them on the line and saying, this person did this. They're the one responsible for it. But the video that was put out that said he was a rat, anyone who watched the video, it kind of said, well, like, oh, I don't know who attacked me. They attacked me from behind. I don't know if he's the person who did it. I didn't see him. Apparently, what he got convicted with was because he was already on parole and they found other things in the apartment, weapons and things like that got him busted. So him going, and because I guess they found Louie's blood on the jacket. So I don't know if he, like, what exactly he was convicted of. And then I guess he did 18 months. And then when he got out, he was angry. So he kind of just took it out on Louie.
True. What was the backlash like? Because I know the backlash was crazy. I'm not even going to front. I seen that. I was just like, that's wild. I thought he did it.
It was pretty crazy for a while. I mean, he kind of avoided certain places in Toronto. And if he did go out certain places, he was rolling with people to protect himself. But again, it ended up turning into being like a family matter, you know? Like I said, the guy was his daughter's brother. Like, no, it wasn't his kid. It was his daughter's brother. And he already had problems with that woman, the mother of his daughter. And she had caused him a lot of problems previous to her son doing that, like trying to call immigration on him. And technically, she was the one being the ratting out Louie for several things. So it was a big controversial thing. It was a really personal thing, and it just kind of got blown way out.
Yeah.
Technically, it's the stepson.
Technically, I guess so.
Yeah, stepson.
Yeah, he was born after his daughter was born, so. And I can't say for sure, you know, what if there was communication between them, if there was an issue. I don't know if one owed the other money or if you know, like I can't really speak on what the actual events were because I don't know. I just know what happened afterwards and the problems it caused for him and his daughter and all of that. So.
Well, yeah, thank you for clearing that up.
I mean, people have their opinions
Yeah,
either way,
facts.
so.
Yeah. Nothing you can do about it,
I
right?
personally don't know him as a rat. I've never seen him, like, he's always been totally against that stuff. And he only went because he was subpoenaed. He didn't want to go. He fought it tooth and nail. Like, why do I have to do this? Don't you have enough evidence without me? And he was forced, so.
That's the questions I have with Louie before I...
1 second. Do me a favor. Grab that pillow behind your head and just throw it to me. I just don't want it in the shot.
It's been... All right. Music-wise, you said he has an album that hasn't been released yet, right? Or that's when it's supposed to be coming out. What else does he have that we should be looking out for? Any movies or just anything in general that you want to see?
Well, he did Yank, You Ain't No Killer with Comma, Easy Mac. Okay. So that was finished, and I guess 1 or 2 episodes have been put out so far, and there's more to come out.
Okay. Where can we see that?
On YouTube, I believe.
Right.
I think you can go to Comma's Instagram page, Easy Mac, and there's probably links on there to it. Right. And I do know that literally the day before his accident, he was starting to film a new movie with Bismo from iHouse Records.
Okay, I've never heard of them. But...
Well, they did that movie called Small World a couple years ago.
And just to clear up, that's Kamikaze.
Yes, Kamikaze, Easy Mac.
Oh, okay.
And so Bismo from iHouse, him and Louie go way back and did some music together in the past. And then they did a movie called Small World a couple years ago. Okay. And then they started filming another movie literally days before the accident. And that was completed. And Jeff Villani's in it. Paul Campbell's in it. And it is finished. And the trailer is out on YouTube. Okay. I apologize. I can't remember what it's called, but
we'll figure it out.
There was only a few scenes with Louie. And I did hear a rumor that one of his brothers may have been continuing on his role, but I don't know if that actually happened because I haven't seen it yet. So, right. And then there was supposed to be an Intent 3. I don't know if they're going to be doing that or not. There was talk of being an Intent 3 because I guess in Intent 2, Soursop, which is Popcorn, and Louie had an issue in the movie, and Soursop got away and went to the UK, and he was supposed to go after him. So I don't know what's going to happen with that, if there's going to be a number 3. But I know that
interesting.
team that he worked with, they've got a lot of stuff coming out right now. So
Interesting.
But the album was done. It was literally in like the mixing, mastering, almost done process when the accident happened. But right now, I guess it's just legal processes before it can get out. Like who's going to take it over and who's running the estate and things like that. And where if it makes money, who the money's going to go to. And, he's got children in the States as well as here. So although all of his other children are over the age of 18, it's just my 3 kids that are under. So
Okay. How many kids does he have?
Well, we have 3, and then he has another one here in Toronto, and then he's got 2 in Connecticut, 3 with his wife in New York, and 1 in Atlanta.
I lost count.
So 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, at least 10
Jeez.
that we know of.
Hey, man. At least his legacy will live on for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
1,000%. But yeah, what's going on with you? What else are you doing? Anything?
Well, I still do some artist promotion and stuff like that. I help promote things and on my Instagram and stuff. But right now, I'm just basically focusing on my kids and school.
Facts.
Hasn't been easy to do much lately with COVID lockdown. So.
Last few questions I have for you. I was on your Instagram page, and I don't know if you want to talk about this, but your weight loss journey.
Yes.
So for people out there that are listening, they might have any issues with, their weight and stuff like that. What can you tell them about that?
Well, I've struggled with my weight my whole life. Well, not my whole life, but basically since puberty. Before kids, it wasn't so bad, but from my first kid, I gained like 80 pounds. So from that, it was a struggle. I lost the weight, and then I got pregnant with my second kid, and then I lost the weight again. And I probably got down to my smallest since high school before I got pregnant with my daughter, Zara, who was the first one I had with Louie. And then I had Zara, and then a couple years later, I got pregnant with twins. And obviously with twins, you put on more weight than you normally would with a single. And then I lost a little bit of weight after the accident because of stress and stuff. And then I started gaining it back, and then COVID, and then I really started gaining it back. And then it was just for health reasons. I mean, I got diabetes when I was pregnant with my twins. And in order to get rid of that, you had to lose weight, and you got to keep up with your kids and be healthy. And, now I'm really the only one there for them. So, but this latest journey with weight loss, I kind of went on a semi-keto diet. So it wasn't 100% keto. I kind of just fashioned it to my own liking. So I try to stay under a certain amount of carbs per day, and I try to get a little exercise every day, whether it's to go for a walk for an hour with the kids and on the trails, or, just go outside and run around, or, you got to do something active, keep your heart rate going. And I managed to lose almost 50 pounds since the end of June. So
Proper.
I'm still going. I still got something to lose.
Keep pushing, fam.
I'm trying. I'm going to be 35 on Wednesday, so I got to...
What are you, a Scorpio?
I'm a Scorpio. Scorpio season.
Scorpio season. We're going to get into that. Last question I have for you. We asked everybody on this Friday has, I don't know if you see like the We Love Hip Hop podcast, but him and PK Herc asked this on his show, even 6 Views, or my show as well. We have a terrible problem with gun violence in Toronto.
That's for sure.
With you raising some kids, you know what I'm saying? You might send your kids to Toronto one weekend, or they might just go to Toronto one weekend, and you know what I'm saying? I'm not saying they're getting themselves into something, but you know what I'm saying? You want them to be safe as hell.
Yeah.
Is there any way we can obviously not stop this, but bring down the gun violence?
I don't know. It's hard to say because there's so many sides to it. I mean, Justin Trudeau didn't really help taking advantage of the COVID and throwing all these laws out there with trying to take things away from people. On one hand, there are people who are properly trained and know how to use the weapons they have and are legally licensed to carry them and only use them for what they're supposed to be used for. And then on the other hand, there's people that use them for their own personal gain. And unfortunately, the younger generation have been raised on this lifestyle. And the music industry doesn't help because a lot of, I mean, I've noticed as of late, probably in the last year or so, a lot of these artists are trying to get away from promoting gun violence and things in their in their music and stuff, you know, and they're really trying to help promote, keep it away from it. But unfortunately, it is like that. Like my son's gonna be 10 in February, and he knows who Pop Smoke is. He knows who Juice World is. He knows Tory Lanez. He knows all. Again, speak down on Louie's name, but you know everybody knows that he's an OG. So you know he's dealt with things and been in things in his life that involved guns and violence. So you know, he even tried to speak to my kids about it and say, you know, these things aren't okay. And if you have them in your home, you're really only supposed to be for protection for yourself and your family. You're not supposed to use them for certain things. But then you watch movies and, you know, like, of course, my son has seen Louie's movies and Belly and Shatas. So he thinks, oh, that's so cool. That's so cool. And
That shit ain't real.
I think the biggest thing is education, gun education, gun violence education. Not and it's not to say that I think kids should be shown the effects of gun violence, but then on the other hand, I think they kind of need to. They need to see how it affects people. They need to see, you know, how it ruins lives. It kills people. It really doesn't go nowhere.
Yeah.
You know, we personally knew Houdini because a friend of ours that owns a car dealership in our town. He's the one who gave the red Ferrari to Houdini for one of his music videos. So, and Louie was supposed to do a song with Houdini before he passed away. So, and my son knew who Houdini was. And then when I told him he died, and he's like, oh, how did he die? Did he get shot? And the fact that my 9-year-old son the first thing he thinks of is that he got shot.
It's crazy.
It is crazy. So, but then again, all the music is geared to that, you know? It's all turf wars, gang wars.
Shoot, all the TV
How are you
shows
going to
too.
teach kids to get away from that? There's got to be... I know there's a lot of artists in the community right now that are trying to do the anti-gun violence, like this song, Wish I Could. And, you know, there's a lot of other artists that have become involved in anti-gun violence. I know JD Era has always been against it. Like I said, I've known JD Era for probably over 10 years. And
We Love Hip Hop alumni.
yeah, he's always been against that stuff. So I'm really liking the fact to see more and more artists really getting behind
Facts.
behind
the
that.
positive
Yeah,
stuff.
you know, and I see a lot of people trying to get involved. I think was that Infinite was doing some stuff in Rexdale for for anti-gun violence and in the communities and the schools and stuff. So, and Louie did a lot of talks too. He did a lot of interviews where he's talking about, you know, stay in school, get out of the streets, get your education. You know, if you want to get into music, then focus on the music, not on the streets part of the music. You know, some of these artists are really trying to change things around, but it's not easy. It's a lifestyle that's been ingrained in people for years. So,
Yeah, man. Well, Toronto, like always, do better, man. I hope artists, the ones that are doing positive shit, thank you. We appreciate you. And we see you out there. Jordan, everybody on that track, everybody that's just trying to do something positive, we see you out there. Keep doing your thing, fam.
do you think that banning guns is going to help stop the issue, though?
No. To me, one, instead of trying to get kids at like 15, 16, I think we got to start younger. I think you got to start going
agree.
at these kids at like 7, 8, 9.
Yeah, look at my
When
son.
they're-
He's 9 and he's
when
already...
they know stuff now.
You gotta get it into them when they're, you know, impressionable.
Yeah.
And 8, 9, 10-year-old boys are impressionable because you see them on Instagram and Facebook and they're dancing and
Yeah, they're on
flashing their
TikTok,
fingers like they're guns
they're
and,
on
you
all that
know, and-
stuff. So I think you got to get them when you're young. I think obviously like doing more programs so these kids have something to do other than, all right, well, there's nothing to do, I'm just gonna go to the streets. And I think parenting, I don't care what anybody says, I think a lot of these parents, it might not be their fault, but they've failed a lot of these kids.
Is
They
it from
haven't-
lack of attention on
Yes,
the child?
because a lot of these parents don't know what the hell their kids are doing. Their kids are out there selling drugs and they don't have a clue.
Yeah.
So it's like You got to be real with yourself as a parent to know, yo, what is my kid doing? You got to go search up your kid's room, do all that shit. You're a parent. You're not.
I do
friends.
those things. My oldest kid's gonna be 13 in 2 weeks, and she gets mad at me because I randomly take her phone and go through her messages and look at the website she's going on. And when she wants to go to a friend's house, I said, "Who are you going to? Who are their parents? Like you."
Check their history.
And she gets mad at me, and she's like, "Oh, why do you have to get yelling up my business?" I said, "Because you don't know these days. You don't know if their parents are crackheads. You don't know if what their parents are doing. You know. You
don't know any. So yeah, I think parents have to really get into your child, especially like not to. Well, you got mixed kids, so you got to do it. But yeah, especially if you have a black child, get on your kid's ass. No homo. Like really parent your kids.
I think you're right. I think there's too many parents out there that are not involved in their children's life enough. They get to a certain age and they just kind of let them go.
And not even just that, I do understand, like, there's life. Like, you're trying to work, you're trying to get your life together too, right? Like, you know, life happens, you know, you could be whatever the situation is, but at the same time, you made a child.
Yeah, but once you have kids, your life is no longer yours. It's for your children. So
yeah, I know you work, I know you do all that, but you gotta pay attention to them too. So that's another thing too. And yeah, that's it for that. Jewlz Chaotic, thank you. Before we get out of here, I got the uncut questions for you. Really quick, can you take? Really quick. I just gotta get water. Tascam.